Friends, before you go another day feeling trapped by bills, loans, and financial pressure, I want you to pause and realize something powerful. You were never meant to live under the weight of debt. There is a secret, a divine principle that when understood and applied can command your debts to vanish and open doors to hidden wealth that you never even knew existed. Today, I am going to share with you a message that has the power to change your financial destiny, a truth that is simple, yet so powerful that it can shift your life from lack to abundance almost immediately. Imagine waking up tomorrow free from worry, free from financial burden, and stepping into a life where resources flow in alignment with divine favor. That is not just a dream. It is your potential reality when you understand the authority you carry through your words, your faith, and your obedience. Most people wait for miracles to happen externally, but the true breakthrough begins when you activate the power inside of you. Your tongue, your heart, and your actions are the keys to unlocking provision that has been prepared for you all along. In this message, you will learn how to speak with authority over your debts, how gratitude can unlock hidden blessings, how obedience activates favor, and how consistent declarations create unstoppable momentum in your life. This is not about wishful thinking or temporary solutions. This is about stepping into a spiritual strategy that commands results and transforms your circumstances. I encourage you to listen not just with your ears, but with your heart. Absorb every principle, let it settle in your spirit, and apply it immediately. By the end of this video, you will not only understand the path to financial freedom, you will know how to command it, speak it, and walk in it. Stay with me, because what you are about to hear could be the turning point in your life. The moment your debts begin to dissolve and your hidden wealth begins to appear. Get ready, because from this moment forward, you are about to step into authority over your finances like never before. Debt is rarely just a financial problem. It is often a spiritual stronghold that controls the flow of your life. While bills, loans, and obligations appear in the natural realm, the roots of debt often lie in unseen agreements, limiting beliefs, and words spoken over your life that have shaped your financial atmosphere. Many people work tirelessly, yet feel trapped, not realizing that the chains they carry are reinforced by fear, doubt, and a mindset that unknowingly gives power to lack. Debt is a spiritual force because it operates not only through numbers, but through the attitudes, words, and habits that allow it to persist. Recognizing this is the first step toward breaking free, because what is unseen must be addressed in the spiritual before it can be removed in the natural. The moment you understand debt as a spiritual stronghold, your perspective begins to shift. It is not merely a burden to pay off. It is a challenge to your faith and authority. Debt gains strength when you speak words of worry, when you dwell on lack, and when you accept limitation as reality. These invisible agreements create an atmosphere in which financial difficulties multiply, making it difficult to see a way out. Yet, the same spiritual laws that allow debt to dominate can also be used to release it. The recognition that God has already provided abundance and that your words and faith have authority is the key to stepping into financial freedom. Debt also thrives on procrastination and fear. When bills are ignored, or when the mind is consumed by anxiety about obligations, the stronghold becomes fortified. Fear acts like fuel, giving energy to scarcity and limitation. But when you confront that with faith, clarity, and spiritual action, you weaken its grip. It is not just about paying off numbers. It is about breaking the spiritual agreements that give debt its authority over your life. Speaking against limitation, declaring provision, and taking steps in alignment with divine wisdom begins to dismantle the chains that once seemed permanent. Understanding debt spiritually also changes how you approach finances. You begin to see that money is not merely earned by human effort, but released through alignment with divine principles. Debt is not the final word. It is a temporary assignment that tests faith and develops spiritual authority. The longer you remain unaware of its spiritual roots, the longer it persists. But when you awaken to the truth that debt is not your master and that you have been given authority over your life and finances, everything changes. This perspective shifts your energy from fear to faith, from defeat to dominion. Once you see debt as a stronghold that can be broken through spiritual action, you begin to approach every financial decision with wisdom, confidence, and authority. You no longer live in reaction to numbers or fear. You live in alignment with divine provision, speaking words of power that command debts to vanish. Debt is not permanent. It is temporary, and when confronted in both the natural and spiritual realms, it has no choice but to release its hold over your life. Your words are not just sounds, they carry authority and the ability to shape your financial reality. The principle is simple yet profound. What you consistently speak over your life has the power to either release blessings or reinforce limitations. Debt responds to faith-filled declarations just as much as it responds to action. When you speak words of lack, fear, and hopelessness, you are reinforcing the very stronghold you desire to break. Every time you confess worry or doubt about your finances, you are giving invisible permission for scarcity to remain. Conversely, when you speak with faith, declaring abundance, provision, and freedom, you are activating spiritual laws that begin to shift the unseen forces controlling your circumstances. Many people underestimate the power of spoken words because they only consider the natural realm. Yet, the spiritual realm responds to what is said. Your tongue carries creative energy. It has the ability to bind or release. When you declare, "I am free from debt," "Provision is coming to me now," or "I walk in abundance," you are sending commands into the unseen realm that begin to align circumstances in your favor. Debt cannot survive in the presence of authoritative declarations made in faith. These words are not empty. They are spiritual tools that unlock provision that has already been set aside for you. Speaking over your finances is also an exercise in belief. Words are the bridge between faith and manifestation. Believing silently in your heart is powerful, but faith becomes activated when it is spoken. The universe, and indeed the spiritual realm, responds to words carried by conviction. When you consistently declare financial freedom, your mindset changes, your decisions become wiser, and your actions align with opportunity. Words create an atmosphere in which miracles can occur, opening doors and attracting resources that were previously invisible. It is important to note that speaking authority is not the same as empty repetition. Faith-filled declarations must be coupled with belief, understanding, and expectancy. When you speak without conviction, the spiritual force behind your words is diminished. However, when you speak with confidence, knowing that what you are saying aligns with divine truth, you are commanding a response from heaven. Debt is not immune to authority. It responds to the sound of faith spoken with persistence and clarity. Your words also influence your emotional and mental state. When you speak hope and victory over your finances, fear begins to lose its grip. Anxiety is replaced with peace, and hopelessness is replaced with expectation. The act of speaking boldly to your circumstances strengthens your spirit and fortifies your faith. It is in the repetition of these declarations that momentum builds, creating a spiritual pathway for hidden provision, unexpected opportunities, and solutions to appear. Every day that you choose to speak faith-filled words over your finances, you are reshaping the story of your life. You are moving from a position of victimhood into a place of authority. Debt cannot remain where faith speaks. Lack cannot dominate where abundance is declared. Your tongue is a powerful instrument, and when used correctly, it commands the unseen to align with God's provision, releasing resources and dismantling the stronghold of debt from your life. Faith without action remains dormant. And when it comes to overcoming debt, belief alone is not enough. True faith requires movement, decisive, consistent action that demonstrates trust in divine provision. Debt cannot vanish simply because you hope or wish it away. It responds to faith that is activated through obedience, planning, and strategic steps. Every spiritual principle works in tandem with practical action, and this alignment is what allows breakthroughs to occur. Believing that you are free from debt must be accompanied by behaviors that honor that belief, whether it is through budgeting wisely, seeking guidance, or following inspired financial opportunities. Faith moves from the invisible into the visible only when paired with action. Action fueled by faith operates differently than action fueled by desperation or fear. When you act out of panic, you often make decisions that worsen your financial situation, or you become immobilized by worry. But when your actions are rooted in faith, each step is purposeful and guided by divine wisdom. It is not about human effort alone. It is about allowing your faith to direct your strategy. For example, paying off a portion of debt while trusting that provision will come is an act of faith in motion. Every payment, every wise choice, and every move made with trust in God reinforces the spiritual authority you are claiming over your finances. Faith-driven action also requires persistence. Many give up too soon, expecting instant results. And when they don't see immediate relief, doubt begins to creep in. But the principle is that faith produces results over time, and consistent action ensures that the spiritual forces you have activated are allowed to manifest fully. Every small, intentional step you take becomes a building block for the larger breakthrough. This is why discipline in managing finances, maintaining accountability, and acting on opportunities is crucial. These actions honor the spiritual declaration you have made and open doors for resources to flow. It is also important to recognize that action guided by faith builds confidence and authority. Each successful step reinforces your belief that God is providing and that your declarations are effective. Momentum begins to build in both the natural and spiritual realms. Your environment starts to respond to your faith, and the stronghold of debt begins to weaken. Without action, faith remains theoretical, and the power of your declarations cannot fully manifest. Action gives your words weight, and your obedience transforms invisible principles into visible results. Faith-driven action requires courage as well. It is not always easy to make the first move, especially when debt feels overwhelming. But every bold decision, taken with trust in divine provision, signals to heaven that you are serious about breaking free. It also signals to your own spirit that you are stepping into authority rather than passivity. The combination of faith and action is unstoppable. It activates supernatural favor, attracts opportunities, and begins to dismantle the chains that debt has held over your life. When faith is coupled with immediate, deliberate action, the atmosphere around your finances changes. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You become a co-creator with divine power. Debt begins to release its grip, hidden provision appears, and the path toward financial freedom becomes clear. Faith without action cannot move mountains, but faith that acts commands the mountain to move and declares that lack will no longer dominate your life. Gratitude is a powerful spiritual key that opens doors to provision even when circumstances seem impossible. When you cultivate a heart of thankfulness, you are not merely expressing politeness or habit. You are releasing a force that shifts your entire financial atmosphere. Gratitude carries a vibration that attracts favor, multiplies resources, and aligns you with hidden blessings that are already prepared for you. Many people focus on what they lack, and in doing so, they create a mental and spiritual environment in which scarcity continues to dominate. But when you choose to begin each day with a heart full of thanksgiving, even for small things, you signal to heaven that you recognize the goodness already operating in your life, and that recognition triggers increase. Expressing gratitude in the midst of financial pressure is especially powerful. It is easy to thank God when everything is going well, but true faith is shown when you remain thankful even when debts are looming and resources seem limited. Gratitude in those moments becomes a spiritual declaration that your circumstances do not define you, and that divine provision is available regardless of what the eyes see. When you speak words of thanksgiving, you are planting seeds of expectation. These seeds grow into opportunities, solutions, and financial breakthroughs because the universe responds to the energy you emit. Thankfulness acts as a magnet for hidden favor, bringing unexpected resources and creative solutions into your life. Gratitude also transforms your mindset. The human spirit tends to focus on lack, but thanksgiving trains your mind to recognize abundance. Even in the middle of debt, focusing on what is already present creates a perspective shift that allows wisdom and clarity to arise. A thankful heart is not a passive heart. It is an active declaration that you are ready to receive more. This shift in perspective prepares you to act wisely, make better financial decisions, and recognize opportunities that others might overlook. When your spirit is aligned with thankfulness, your financial atmosphere begins to change and doors that seemed closed begin to open. Furthermore, gratitude reinforces faith. The more you acknowledge God's goodness and provision, the stronger your belief becomes that all debts are repayable and that hidden resources can manifest. Faith and gratitude are inseparable in activating supernatural favor. Gratitude is the evidence of faith in action. It is the voice that says, I trust you even before I see the solution. When combined with prayer and declaration, thanksgiving becomes a spiritual force that accelerates the manifestation of financial freedom. Daily practice of gratitude compounds its effect. Each morning, when you begin by giving thanks, you create a momentum that carries through the entire day. You no longer focus solely on debts or limitations, but on the provision, guidance, and favor that are already in motion. This momentum attracts divine intervention, hidden resources, and creative strategies that work to eliminate debt. Gratitude is not just a habit, it is a spiritual principle that draws blessing, multiplies opportunities, and aligns your life with abundance that is waiting to be released. By consistently cultivating a thankful heart, even in financial difficulty, you position yourself to receive and release the favor that eradicates debt, restores peace, and opens doors that were previously unseen. Obedience is a powerful catalyst that activates supernatural favor and aligns your life with divine provision. Faith alone is essential, but without obedience, it remains incomplete. Every principle of God has a corresponding action, and the one who follows guidance faithfully unlocks blessings that are otherwise hidden. In the context of financial freedom, obedience means more than paying your bills or working hard. It involves following spiritual instructions, practicing integrity, and aligning your daily decisions with divine wisdom. Every step of obedience sends a signal to heaven that you are serious about walking in the life of abundance you were created for, and that signal activates provision in ways that human effort alone cannot produce. Obedience demonstrates trust. When you act on God-inspired guidance, you are declaring that you believe what you cannot yet see. This kind of trust is magnetic. It attracts divine favor and opens doors that logic or planning cannot explain. Many people fail to experience breakthroughs because they are hesitant to act when instructed by faith. Obedience requires courage and humility. It asks you to release control, follow direction, and take steps even when the outcome is unclear. Each obedient step builds momentum, and that momentum multiplies, bringing opportunities, resources, and solutions that were previously inaccessible. Obedience also positions you to receive what is already prepared for you. Hidden wealth, financial breakthroughs, and debt cancellation are often waiting, but they cannot flow to you without alignment. When you act in accordance with spiritual principles, you remove barriers that prevent provision from manifesting. Every act of obedience creates a pathway for blessing to travel, turning natural scarcity into supernatural abundance. Even small acts done consistently demonstrate faith in motion, and that faith triggers responses from heaven. Another dimension of obedience is timing. Often the breakthrough is available immediately, but it requires you to act in alignment with divine instruction. Waiting for the perfect moment or second-guessing guidance delays provision. Faith in action means taking steps promptly, trusting that each obedient move is guided and protected. The combination of prompt action and faithful obedience produces results that overwhelm human expectations. It multiplies efforts, accelerates provision, and dismantles obstacles in ways that defy explanation. Obedience also transforms your character, which in turn prepares you for long-term financial freedom. By following principles faithfully, you develop discipline, integrity, and spiritual sensitivity. These qualities attract favor, strengthen your decision-making, and allow you to handle resources wisely. The person who obeys grows in authority over their finances and in confidence in God's provision. The atmosphere around them shifts, and both natural and supernatural support begins to converge. In essence, obedience is the key that unlocks hidden wealth and dissolves debt. It is not simply about action, it is about alignment with divine will. Every act of obedience, however small, carries spiritual weight that multiplies over time. When combined with prayer, declaration, and gratitude, obedience becomes a dynamic force that commands financial breakthrough, removes obstacles, and positions you to receive the abundance that has been prepared for your life. By committing to follow divine guidance faithfully, you step into a reality where debt loses its grip, provision flows, and favor becomes a constant companion. Consistency in faith-filled declarations is the engine that drives supernatural breakthrough, especially when it comes to finances and debt. Speaking powerful words over your life once may spark hope, but repeated daily declarations build momentum in the spiritual realm, gradually dismantling strongholds and opening pathways for provision. The spiritual realm operates according to principles, not chance, and one of the most powerful principles is that persistent, faith-filled speech creates tangible results. Every day you affirm freedom from debt, abundance, and divine favor. You are reinforcing a spiritual pattern that heaven cannot ignore. Daily declarations serve to align your heart, mind, and actions with your faith. When you declare, my debts are canceled, I walk in provision today, or God's favor surrounds me, you are not merely repeating words. You are embedding truth deep within your spirit. This repetition trains your mind to see opportunity instead of limitation, courage instead of fear, and abundance instead of scarcity. Over time, your internal beliefs begin to match your spoken words, and that alignment transforms how you make decisions, manage resources, and approach challenges. What starts as spoken faith becomes a lived reality because consistency solidifies the bridge between belief and manifestation. The power of consistency also lies in its ability to counteract doubt. Doubt is the enemy of breakthrough, and without regular declarations, the pressures of life, financial setbacks, and negative influences can erode your faith. Speaking daily reinforces your confidence and reminds both your spirit and the spiritual realm that you are serious about the authority you hold over your finances. Each declaration chips away at fear, uncertainty, and limitation, creating a spiritual momentum that compounds with every repetition. Consistency in declaration is also an act of discipline and spiritual obedience. It signals that you are committed to walking in authority over your life, regardless of circumstances. The spiritual realm responds to those who persevere, just as the natural realm rewards those who show discipline. By speaking daily, you are effectively instructing your environment, and the unseen forces that govern it. Your faith is active. Your intention is clear and your expectation is unwavering. This consistency activates supernatural favor, attracts hidden resources, and even opens doors that human effort alone cannot access. Another critical aspect of daily declarations is their cumulative effect. One day of speaking faith may move a mountain, but sustained declaration ensures the mountain remains shifted. The more persistent you are, the stronger the spiritual current becomes, drawing provision from multiple directions. It creates an invisible web of alignment, connecting opportunity, divine guidance, and human effort in ways that produce exponential results. This is why those who experience lasting financial breakthroughs are not occasional declarers. They are faithful, daily practitioners of faith in speech and action. When you commit to daily, consistent declarations over your finances and debts, you establish a rhythm that heaven recognizes and responds to. Each morning and each evening, when you speak with faith and authority, you reinforce your spiritual position, dismantle the stronghold of debt, and invite hidden resources into your life. Over time, what began as spoken words becomes reality, provision becomes visible, and financial freedom becomes an established part of your life. Consistency transforms faith from a momentary hope into a continuous, unstoppable force that commands your life and finances into alignment with divine purpose. As we conclude this powerful message, remember that your financial freedom is not dependent on chance, luck, or the timing of the world. It is anchored in faith, obedience, and the authority you carry through your words and actions. Debt is not permanent. It is a stronghold that can be dismantled when you speak with conviction, act in faith, give thanks, and consistently declare your victory. Each step you take in alignment with these principles strengthens position and opens the floodgates of provision that have been waiting for you all along. You have been given authority over your finances, and the moment you take it seriously, your words, actions, and obedience activate a supernatural response that commands debt to vanish and hidden wealth to appear. Never underestimate the power of your own voice. What you declare with faith, faith reshapes your reality. What you act upon with obedience releases favor, and what you bless with gratitude attracts abundance. The spiritual realm responds to persistence, alignment, and expectancy. Every day you rise and declare victory. You are reinforcing the momentum that will bring breakthrough into your life. Your journey toward financial freedom is a combination of spiritual authority, faithful action, and a heart that remains steadfast, grateful, and obedient. As you move forward from this message, step boldly into your authority. Speak life over your finances, act with faith, cultivate gratitude, and obey the guidance that aligns you with divine principles. Allow your declarations to become habits, your faith to become unshakable, and your obedience to become consistent. When you do this, debt will lose its grip, hidden provision will manifest, and your life will reflect the abundance you have been created to walk in. Good luck as you take these truths into your daily life. May every word you speak, every action you take, and every moment of obedience draw you closer to complete financial freedom. Thank you for listening, for believing, and for committing to step into your authority. May your life overflow with favor, provision, and blessings beyond what you can imagine. God bless you always.